But it's wonderful to be with you all once again for our second live chat. And I'm ready to hear it. This is your time with me, folks. Your time with me to ask anything and everything about the voice, about me, about my past, my career, my experiences. Taught a lot of darn voice lessons at this stage, 20,000 plus. So, I got a lot of exciting stories and things from students, things you might want to hear about. So if you have technique questions, if you have questions about me and my experiences in New York and teaching lots of singers, this is your time. So you can lay them on me. And do we have a first question ready to rock here? I think we're getting some questions coming in. Yeah, okay, good. I see the first question just came through. We've got a question. Do Broadway singers use passagio to reach the high notes to belt, or is everyone just a tenor? Well, this is a very interesting question. Okay, so got a lot of different terms flowing here. First of all, we'll start with, is everyone just a tenor? No, not everyone is a tenor, but in contemporary singing, a lot of these terminologies don't really apply, okay? We don't want, as a contemporary vocalist, to think, I'm a tenor, I'm a baritone, I'm a bass. We want to think more, what are the coordinations that my voice can do? And virtually everyone in a contemporary context can learn to sing tenor notes, and historically tenor notes. And that's why you see Broadway singers, many of them being able to sing, if you're a male, A natural, B flat, high C, notes that are usually for a tenor. Seems like everyone can do them. There's a reason why. It's that they have coordinated their voice. Now you use the word passagio there. Passagio is just a transitional part of the voice. Like, let's say where chest wants to go to falsetto and we smooth it out and make it into a mix. And that is the way that a Broadway singer, as you're asking, could learn to be a tenor. Is right where it wants to start to get really chesty at the passagio. Here's like an E natural. I could have ma, 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 and really gun it there. Or ma, 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 let it switch. Or find these blends in between. Ma, 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 ma. But it's not that chesty, and it's not falsetto either. And so it's how a singer might learn to be a tenor, right? And this is why in contemporary singing, we don't have to worry so much about the voice types. We just need to worry about the coordinations. You see, an opera singer needs to project their voice over an orchestra. And so the different resonances that project in different people's voices will matter. It does matter if we're singing in a auditorium with 4,000 seats and we've got to project to the back. If I'm more of a bass baritone, shouldn't be singing some of those upper notes. It's going to be very taxing, okay? But a contemporary singer or a Broadway singer uses a microphone, and you can learn those coordinations in order to sing nice high notes like a tenor would. Okay, and now we've got more questions rocking and rolling here. I see from our friend Jack Morgan. Hey, Jack, welcome back. What's Bel Canto? What's Bel Canto? Fantastic question. Bel Canto means beautiful singing, and it's Italian, of course. Now, the Italians are some of the founding fathers and founding mothers of what we know as vocal technique. A lot of our vocal pedagogy, our ideas about the voice, come from the Italian school, okay? And so not just vocal technique terms, but musical terms, many of those terms come from the Italian school. Bel Canto isn't necessarily a method, because there's lots of different bel canto teachers that teach different things. But we'll say it's a historical, classical approach to vocal pedagogy and vocal technique. I have studied bel canto along with many of the other vocal methods, virtually all of them that you can find. I've had a look at them all. With bel canto, I would say the best bel canto methods that I would recommend the most are the ones that focus on the blending. Just what we were talking about with the Broadway singers a second ago. A lot of great bel canto teachers will focus on resonance and blending registers as a key part of building the voice, so that the voice never takes on too much weight and too much heaviness, but instead relies on proper resonance to find its smoother qualities. Great bel canto technicians will work on that with you if you're a classical singer, and it's very effective. So in conclusion, bel canto, Italian classical vocal technique where we get lots of our even modern day ideas from, okay? And look at all these questions rolling in. We just have some highs. Hi to Blaze. I just want to say hi to Blaze. Hi to Eduardo. Hi to Terry. I think new to our group here, or Tari, I don't know, Tari. Nos worthy. Your Nos is very worthy, Terry. Great, welcome. And now Blue Moon has a question. Is it a good idea for an adult, 20s, 30s, full beginner with professional singing aspirations to start learning singing in multiple opposing genres at the same time, or is that going to be very tricky? Well, Blue Moon, that's an awesome question. I'm loving it, just loving it. I believe, Blue Moon, very strongly in cross-training. So I would advise what you're saying, doing more than one style, more than one genre, okay? You can think about it in terms of athletics, which I love to do with the voice because the voice is muscular. That's the reason we can learn all this amazing high notes and things like that. It's muscular. We got to train the muscles in the right way. If I want to be the best athlete that I can be, it's not about just running. It's not about just lifting heavy weights. It's about balance. If I want to be the best athlete I can be, I do my cardio, I do my stretching, I do my plyometrics and my agility, I do my heavy weights, I do my light weights, I maybe go and play a sport for fun. I do it all, and that's what makes me the most well-rounded athlete, okay? The voice works the exact same way. It's not wrong to say, I'm just gonna sing rock all the time. But any rock singer that then has to sing a classical song, a pop song, a theater song, a jazz song, will find that their rock is heavily benefited from that cross-training approach. So there should be no reason for you to not begin that way, okay? All of those genres will have easier songs, easier repertoire within the genre. And you can get quite a lot of great benefits by going from genre to genre, even when you're just starting off. So that was a really wonderful question there from Blue Moon. And we're just gonna go right in order here. This is from Blaze. Blaze says, hey, Justin, you always talk about great vocal technique. Oh, can you actually tell me what is great vocal technique? Yes, I think I can, Blaze. Ooh, these questions are just food for the soul. What is great vocal technique? Well, great vocal technique is about mastery of so many different components of singing so that everything you do as a vocalist is a choice. That's vocal technique, is that whatever I want to do is my choice. I never try to do something and something else comes out and I didn't mean it. Nope, I chose it. I had control over it. I had mastery over it. And so that's what we want to do when we're training, is say, what do I have down? And what do I not have down? And whatever I do not have down, that's what I work on next. Whether that's power, I would like my voice to be a stronger voice. We can work on that. Range, I would like my voice to be more rangy. We can work on that. Stamina, I would like my voice to last longer and to hold out long notes or phrases. Agility, I would like my voice to be able to move quickly on riffs, runs, melismatic passages. Vibrato, straight tone, I would like my voice to be able to do straight tone and various vibrato speeds. Style, I don't want to just be locked into one style or another style. The list could continue, but you sort of see the point. If there's something that I cannot yet do, this is what I'm after. And I'd encourage all of that for you. Value what you have, value what technique you already have, and then say, what's missing? What element is missing? And don't just say, well, that's not my voice. I can't do that. Say, I can do that. I will do that. I will strive for that technique, for that mastery, for that artistry. And you'll find that your technique grows and grows and grows over time. And the exciting thing is, it's a never-ending journey. You're never going to be done with it. It's a lifelong craft and art form and mission, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. This is why I love teaching so much. For me, it's my craft, it's my art form. I don't ever want to be done. I want to get better and better and better at giving technique to you. That's how I want you to think about your technique. I'm going to just be growing and growing all the time. If you keep growing, stuff keeps flowing. All right. And now we're going to go right back to the questions here. We've got, Tari or Terry, I can go up to a high note, but I struggle to bring the note back down without the sound cutting off. How can I fix this? Ooh, the sound cutting off. That's a very interesting way to say it. I'm not exactly sure of what you mean by cutting off. However, I think I can give you some guidance anyway. We know that the voice needs to shed weight as it goes higher. Okay, it naturally does this if we just let it do what it would like to do. Okay, I just let it do what it wanted. Didn't mess with it at all. Okay, bad technique would be to keep the weight going. Whoa, boy, just kept the weight going. So we know we don't do that. We got to shed something, I shed something, okay? I shed some. Okay, good. We know that, but do we know to bring it back? Bring back what we shed. If I don't bring back what I shed, then I'm going to get something like this. I forgot to bring the meat back. I didn't bring back the beef. I shed the beef as I went up, but can I bring the beef back? I've got to bring it back. All right, you see? So I'm imagining, Terry, that you just need that intention for chest, intention for strength, intention for a thicker, solider production on the descent. I love that your high notes are going well. It seems like you're shedding that weight successfully, but did you forget the step to bring it back on the way back down? And if you can remember that, I believe you will iron things out pretty quickly, okay? All right. So now here we are back to it. Blaze, again,
How can I stay on pitch without playing a piano? Ooh, well, Blaze, first of all, I would say I still got to recommend the piano to you, but you don't have to be a pianist, okay? Even just access to a piano or a keyboard or an online app, you don't have to have an actual physical piano. There are apps that you can play a note on there or will just give you the tone, okay? You don't have to be a musician, because you don't have to actually play. But you got to have that feedback somewhere, right? I need to have mom. Oh, I'm sharp. There we go. How am I going to know if I don't have access to that? Or up flat. Ooh. I got to have some sort of feedback. So if it's not a piano, maybe it's an app. Maybe it's an app that is a piano app or gives you the note. Maybe it's another instrument. Maybe it's a guitar. Maybe it's a flute. Maybe it's a pitch pipe. That's another method, just a little pitch pipe and it has all the notes. But what I would highly recommend to y'all, if you're working on matching pitch, is you have to have accountability, right? One of the worst mistakes I see is lack of accountability. People singing a song, a cappella, let's say, and just switching keys in the middle of the song. Passage gets too high, whoops, now I'm just suddenly in another key. There's no accountability. You can't get better that way. In your song work, you need accountability. That means a piano track. That means a karaoke track. That means some sort of accompaniment. And in your exercises, you also need some sort of accountability. So those are some other ideas, but just don't feel the pressure to be a musician. Instead, give yourself some sort of accountability. All right, we're rocking. Blaze has got a lot of questions. He says that's fun. I'm thrilled. That's what we're here for. So lay them on me. But now we're going to go to Androgynous Beauty for a second. Hey, Androgynous Beauty, good to see you again. Do you have to be pitch perfect? Love it. No, you don't. Okay. You don't. And let's unpack that. First of all, there's something called perfect pitch, which is extremely rare. And usually you have to develop that before age 4, okay? And what that means, if you have perfect pitch, is if I play this note right here, and I know what it is. I actually don't, I have to look at it. A flat, okay? I don't have perfect pitch myself. I have great relative pitch. Great relative pitch is what you want to develop as a musician. That means having a sense of the music theory, of the chords, of the notes, of the melody, okay? You have a good sense of how pitches interact. You want good relative pitch. The skill of perfect pitch, can I hear a note and know what it is? Or can somebody say, Justin, sing a C and sing exactly a C? This is not a necessary skill. And again, you really can't develop it after the age of 3 or 4. Okay, so when kids develop it then, some of them have perfect pitch. And if you didn't get it then, you really can't develop it later in life. It's kind of a myth that you can. So that's perfect pitch, unpacking that. But let's talk about that pitch perfect, Androgynous Beauty. There is no singer who is perfectly on pitch all the time, okay? No singer. And if you watch, say, like a Super Bowl or parade, I can always tell whether they're singing along to the track or whether it's live within about 5 seconds. And I wonder if you can too. Because what you'll notice if they're singing live is there's almost always, even in elite singers,
a little pitchiness, just a bit, not enough to upset the ear where you say, oh man, this person's way off, but just enough to make it human, okay? We're singers, we're not robots, right? And just like we love somebody not despite their flaws, but actually because of their flaws, there's the uniqueness about each person and their flaws that we love. We actually love that in singers too. We don't love a robotic singer. We love an excellent singer, flaws and all. You will never find a singer that is 100% perfectly in tune all the time. It's not going to happen. And so you should not put that pressure on yourself either. Let's strive for excellent pitch. Let's strive for pitch that communicates the art, communicates the music and the text, but not where we're just a machine and I've got to hit it right on or else I'm in trouble. This kind of thinking only tightens up the voice, tightens up the artist, it destroys the artist. So we're always striving for excellence. We're not striving for perfection. All right, great. And now from Tari, how can I sing the F above soprano, high C in full vibrato? Well, there's several different things going on there, Terry. First of all, the F, you're talking about the F6, this guy right here. That's high. And yes, I do believe you can do it. Okay, I've had many, many people do that note when they didn't think that they could. But flageolet is the gateway. Okay, that note is high enough that if you have not developed your flageolet, then you're not gonna get it. Okay. What is flageolet? Of course, we've talked about it on the show before. This is the falsetto above falsetto if you're a male. This is the head voice above head voice if you're a female. So we'll just show you where my flageolet kind of starts. Okay, here I am in falsetto. I'm gonna keep going. And now, I could keep pushing my falsetto or go into another recipe. I cracked out of falsetto. Wait a minute. I thought I already cracked to get into falsetto. Right? I think I'd only crack once. Wait a minute. Ma, 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 ma. Okay, cracked. Okay, cracked. Mama, I cracked. So I shouldn't be able to crack anymore. Mama, 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 mama. Cracked again? How could I crack twice? Must be that there's another register there. And in fact, there is. Not my falsetto anymore if I'm a female. It's not my head voice anymore. Now this is my next register, my flageolet. And so this little guy, okay, that's almost got that F. There's your F6. I just barely got that one today. Okay, but that's that F6. And I'm a boy. Okay, so what I'm saying is you got to use flageolet in order to have the flexibility to build that note. So that's your first step there, Terry, is work that flageolet. If you're a female, F6, if you want that F6, that shouldn't be the end. You actually should probably get up to these guys, B flat, okay? So you're gonna work that flageolet. Then you're going to take elements of head voice and elements of flageolet and start to blend them together. You will, in time, have either a light head voice on that F6 or a strong flageolet on that F6 or some sort of blend of the two. That is the nature of singing an F6 as a female. Your question though was full vibrato, which is a totally different thing. Vibrato is just a stylistic gesture. I can anytime I want. So once you have that note, F6, then we're gonna start to move it. Vibrato is just a pitch movement. So master the note and then start to get it moving, and then you'll have the F6 and the vibrato. All right, moving to another question from Blue Moon, our friend. How reliably can you teach students over the internet through Skype, etc.? Oh, how reliably? Very, very reliably, Blue Moon. I've been teaching students from all over the globe for 15 years. It's exceedingly reliable. I mean, what can I tell you? I mean, you name a country, I pretty much had a singer from that country. And of course, usually in their apartment or home. All right, time differences are an issue when I'm got somebody from Japan or Singapore, Indonesia, New Zealand, Australia. You know, that can be an issue, but the reliability is it's extremely high. The only downside I really feel of doing Skype and online lessons is simply there's a slight lag sometimes, and so I can't play the exercise exactly with you. Ma 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 is more like going and you sing, and then you sing. So it's just that. But boy, it's just so commonplace and so reliable. And I actually only expect the technology to get better. And I expect it to be, developing even more. I think, as you might know, a voice teacher training program. Have trained teachers also from kind of all over the world. And at this stage, when we do our class, we'll have guests joining from Saudi Arabia and South Africa and England and Japan. And I'm just speaking about this semester. I mean, every semester it's people from all over the world. It's just becoming the new standard. So I highly recommend it. No problems on my front. What do we got next? Ooh, a new member, Ryan Conway. Hey, Ryan, cheers to you. Okay. A lot of singers such as Adele seem to be able to produce very loud sounds without it sounding like shouting. How would you train for louder volume singing without strain? Well, let me just unpack that guy. I like Adele. I like her. I think she's a great artist. I think she's a great performer. As a technician, as a man of vocal technique, I can't advise the production. I really can't. And she has had vocal injuries, several of them at a very young age. I don't mean this in a bad way. I think Adele does sound shouty. I think that does sound like a lot of vocal weight. Okay, it's a beautiful shout. Okay, it's an impressive shout, but a shout nonetheless. And it's not a sound that I can really advise, especially when there is other alternatives that sound very similar and are way healthier and are very sustainable. So here's the truth. Pop and rock music, and even soul and gospel, it doesn't have to be loud. Okay, so you're asking about loudness. It doesn't have to be loud. It should not be loud. In truth, it should not be loud. Only as loud as your voice sort of naturally is. Some people have louder voices than other people. But when we're talking about singing with a microphone, there are ways to belt, okay, where it sounds similar to Adele, for example. and it's not loud. The microphone makes it sound loud, makes it sound powerful, makes it sound awesome. But the actual amplitude is not loud. This is good pop technique. This is good rock technique. This is good gospel, soul, R&B technique, okay? Is to produce strength without volume, without the necessity of the volume. So I actually can't advise, Ryan, trying to push the volume of the voice in styles where it's not necessary. This is exactly how Adele has gotten her voice into trouble. For example, artists sort of similar with the sound, maybe Kelly Clarkson or Pink, produce big, full, belty kinds of sounds without necessarily getting super loud in the process, okay? And this is much more sustainable, healthy pop rock technique, okay? So I hope that helps clarify things, because a lot of times people hear power and compression and they think loud when that's not how the artist is doing it, okay? Adele, yes, but most of the others, no. Beyonce, another person, so soft with that belt, yet so much strength behind it. That's what we're looking for, okay? So let's make that distinction between power and volume. All right, so now back to androgynous beauty. And can you talk about how often to practice the whistle register, and should I practice after a full warm-up or workout? All right, so whistle register, for those of you who don't know, that's above the flageolet. We did some flageolet earlier. Let's see how I'm doing. Okay, there's some whistle, all right? That, again, that's the extension. That's above flageolet. How often do you practice it? I would say, forgive me, androgynous beauty, never. Sorry. Oh, what a terrible answer. So obnoxious, I apologize. There's no reason to practice it, okay? Unless you're going to perform it, which maybe you are. If you're going to perform actual whistle register notes, then I guess you would practice that as a part of your daily practice. You could do it toward the beginning, middle, end. Doesn't really matter with whistle register. But I've made the point, I think many times with whistle, that it doesn't benefit us, really. Flageolet benefits us hugely. Please practice your flageolet every single day. If you do, you will find your vocal range expanding by leaps and bounds. But whistle register is almost like a party trick. It's its own beast. It doesn't have serious implications for the rest of the voice. So I don't see any reason to ever work on it unless you absolutely need it for what you're doing as a vocalist. And then if you do, let's say you could work on it for maybe 10 minutes of your daily vocal practice, okay? But for most of us, we don't need it, all right? I don't want to encourage everybody working on their whistle register because it's not going to produce the results that we want for your vocal health and technique, okay? Sorry for the annoying answer, just I gotta be a truth teller, okay? I don't, let's see. I know you don't like androgynous beauty. I know you don't like the whistle, Justin, but I love it. That's why I want your advice, silly. LOL. Yeah. She knows that it doesn't benefit. It's just a note I want to add to my repertoire. Totally valid. Totally valid. So you've given me the answer. You want it because you love it. I say, go for it then. All right. If you know it doesn't benefit you, and you love it though, and you want to add it to your skill set, then by all means go forth and do it. But I don't really believe it matters when you do it. You can do it any part of your practice. Okay, awesome. And these questions are flowing like fine wine or dark roast. Jacob, oh, Jacob, welcome to the channel. And for musical theater, do Broadway stars belt in passagio? And is it possible for a baritone to sing something like Sante Fe without being a tenor and not using falsetto? Now, Jacob, that might have been your question from before. I think I answered that at the beginning of today, but maybe we missed that and just got confused somehow. The truth is, yes, a non-tenor can sing all of those notes, okay? But it's all about coordinating the mix, okay? Not pushing true chest up that high in Sante Fe, but working to develop the mix. Even a low voice will ultimately be able to do that. It's all about not taking full chest, but finding something in between chest and falsetto to do that. I'm going to do a little less with that question just because we covered so thoroughly at the beginning. Now, next we've got Blue Moon. Can you please mention who your teacher is? The one who started at 27 and made it to the Met. I think I remember you mentioning that in one of your videos. What a fan. What a fan. Thank you, Blue Moon. This is true. I've talked about one of my mentors in past videos, and I will reveal his name. His name is Professor Richard Fracker. And he is currently the head of the vocal department at Michigan State University in Michigan. I am from Michigan. It's the state that looks like a hand. And I am from right about here on the hand in Michigan. Okay. And so Michigan State is sort of just down the road. That's where Professor Richard Fracker teaches. And Professor Fracker was a big mentor to me. One of the biggest parts of his inspirational story is, like you mentioned, Blue Moon, he didn't even start singing till 27. He kind of maybe took a voice lesson or two here and there, but he thought, well, it's not for me. I could never do it. And he became a social worker, and he got his master's in social work. But he had that bug somewhere in him. He said, I can't ignore it. I can't ignore it. I have to sing. Went back to school, studied opera, got his degree in opera, came to New York, made it to the Met, and sang many, many roles at the Metropolitan Opera. And then he came back to Michigan, and that's where I was, young buck, ready to take voice lessons. And I learned from this very inspirational man who just could not suppress the dream. Even 27, never did this before, I'm gonna do it, and made it to the highest stage in the world. I bring up that story a lot when people ask me, am I too old to sing? And 27 is not that old, but I have had students in my studio in their 90s, folks, 90s, yes, 90s, singing so well, where if you closed your eyes, you wouldn't know how old, because the voice has been so well cared for, so well stretched and treated nicely for so many years that even in their 90s, they're sounding silvery and angelic and smooth. The voice should mature like a fine wine if we do things right. Which is going back to that loudness question. That's why we don't push the volume around, okay? That's why you don't go screaming and shouting and try to have the loudest voice you could possibly have. Loud singing is not good singing, okay? And I'm not saying that soft singing is good singing. What I'm saying is don't get loud to achieve results. That's a recipe for messing up your voice and not being able to sing when you're 90, okay? I want you to follow the resonance instead of the volume. All right, we're rocking here with Lena. Oh, hey, Lena. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Justin, is this correct? Breathe in through mouth or nose, whatever is easier. Then as you sing, diaphragm goes in, rib stays out, and don't push through the throat. Okay, lots going on there, Lena. I will unpack it for you. First of all, mouth versus nose breathing. We have an episode on this. It's the quick singing tips episode. I think it's episode number 2, if I'm not wrong. So you can watch the quick singing tips video on this, but mouth versus nose breathing. Here's the truth. If you have the time, you breathe through the nose. Your nose is meant for air. Food is meant for mouth. What am I saying? Bleh. Mouth is meant for food and liquid. Okay, so nose, air, mouth, food, and liquid. When we breathe through our mouth all the time, it's not so good for us. We don't have that filter that the nose is designed for. So you don't want to be huffing and puffing through the mouth, right? But truth is, a lot of times you don't have the time to breathe in through the nose. It's a slower breath. So when you need a quick breath, what we do is a mouth-nose combination. Okay, you keep the mouth open and you breathe through the nose, and they both take in the inhalation. This is what we do when you need that fast breath. When you have a lot of time to breathe, you breathe through the nose. Okay, so that's part 1. Then the next part of that question was, so we get that back on there. Thank you. And then as you sing, the diaphragm goes in. Okay, so here's how here's about the diaphragm, Lena. When we take the inhalation, the diaphragm descends. Okay, the diaphragm is your inhalation muscle. So we take the air in, and the diaphragm does its muscular work. It contracts downward, and that pulls the air in. When this happens, it is nice to have the ribs and the abdomen help with this. When we open the ribs and we open the abs, it assists the diaphragm as it descends, okay? And then on the exhalation, the diaphragm comes back up and we make sound, okay? So we're going to expand ribs and abs for your inhalation breath, all right? And then there was just one more part about that, which was, and don't push through the throat. Yeah, you don't want to be driving a bunch of breath pressure, Lena. That's not the idea. Good breath support just simply means a resisted breath, a slow, smooth kind of feeling breath. We don't want to feel like we're driving our breath pressure. Vocal cords, they're just little guys, okay? They don't want to be shoved around. So you give them nice, steady breath, all right? Awesome questions. Everybody's great. And now, Ji-Ho Kim. Hey, Ji-Ho Kim. Hi, Justin. I'm trying to belt a healthier way and use mixed belting. Yay, Ji-Ho. But I cannot go beyond G4 in my belting. So I'm suspecting it's still unhealthy chest dragging. How can I tell? I think you're right. Because G sharp 4, where you say you're topping out, there's a little transition there in the male voice, okay? And that's about the last moment that you could possibly drive chest without just a full-on yell, okay? Most males, when they've been dragging chest, top out at F sharp, maybe G sharp 4, but then we're kind of done there, all right? So here's what you got to do, Gio. We got to get you on the compression. We got to take you off the force and get you on the compression, all right? Because the strategy for going higher there is going to be long chords, light chords that are put together, assembled in just the right way. So not being blown together, pow, not using volume or force, but instead getting on the compression gesture. I'll give you an example. you can use one of the voiced plosive sounds. These work so well. The voiced plosives are G, B, and D. Those are consonants that we can use. And what I do is let's say, pick a gig, 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 gig. Okay. I want to watch when I get up there. Gig, gig. Whoa. Okay, that's pushing the fourths. But I go gig, 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 gig. Ooh. Gig, 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 gig. Whoa. Gig, 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 gig. I get on the compression. Gig, 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 gig. And when I get that solid sound from the chord level, then that's the thing that goes up higher. It's no longer the push and the drag of chest, but we move from a chest dominant situation really to a coordinated compression focused situation. So it seems to me, Jiho, that you're going to have to get yourself into an exercise like that concentrates on the compression and see, can you take a solid sound past there? Not a push sound, not a loud sound, a solid sound. And if you can, I believe you go a lot higher than that G sharp 4. Cool? All right. Oh, Lena has a follow-up. Okay, Lena, should your stomach be going in as you release constant breath? Fabulous question. So we talked about the ribs and the abdomen moving out. And then her question is, do the abs move back in? Yes, they do. But it's very subtle, ideally. We do not want this kind of idea of ma, 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 ma. It's not like that. It's barely anything. Ma, 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 ma. Just a really gentle pressure. It feels like almost nothing, okay? But the truth of the matter is, yes, because that abdominal engagement, very subtle, very small, is like the gas pedal, okay? It makes the breath come out, all right? Diaphragm doesn't do that. Diaphragm is an inhale muscle, okay? So when we're exhaling, we're going to have a little bit of muscles from the ribs and abdomen participating. They're going to come back in. Just like when they opened for the inhale, they come out. When you exhale, they come back in. But it needs to be so small, so gentle. If it is, then that's when you're not pushing, okay? That gentle pressure, very small. So you almost might not even feel it, or just very subtle, okay? But yes, the lowest abdominals, gentle pressure, okay? All right, what's next? Can I practice vocal exercises by playing only a chord on the piano? This I love. Yes, you can. Good person, you. You don't even need a chord. You just need a note. This is Blaze. Oh, thank you. Hey again, Blaze. You just need a note. Okay, so like let's say my exercise is what I gave to Jiho. It's gig, 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 gig. Now I don't have to go gig, 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 gig. I can do one finger. Gig, 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 etc. This goes to one of our other questions from today of like pitch matching with the piano. You don't have to be a pianist to use the piano in your vocal exercises and practice. And in fact, I highly recommend that you do. Just use it. Just try it. Nobody's saying you got to play Rachmaninoff. Just try it, okay? And how are we doing on questions here? Do we have like tons? Oh boy. Well, I guess that's why we do these every month. Okay, but I would love to make sure that if I've answered questions I've answered them from everybody. Yeah. I just want, people like Blaze, God bless you. I'm happy to answer like 50 questions, but I just want to make sure everybody gets a turn, and we'll try to get through as many as we can. So am I right? We've answered one from everybody that we wanted to. Yeah. Okay. So then we're going to go right back into the fire here. Again from Blaze. All right. How can I set my everyday or monthly singing goals? Okay, rock on with this question. Everyday goals, monthly goals. You know, I think your everyday goal needs to be about balance. Okay. I think that the ideal practicing looks like a balance particularly of vocal registers, okay, where every single day I'm working my chest, I'm working my falsetto, my head voice, my flageolet, my mix. I'm making sure that everybody gets some attention. Then I'm working on specific skill sets that I know my voice is missing. I need to do agility. I'm not as fast as I'd like to be. I need to practice my vibrato. I know that that needs some attention, okay? That's your everyday goal, is balancing the entire voice and working specific skill sets. I think that monthly goals might be better served with repertoire. I would like to pick this song that is currently slightly too difficult for me and work on that piece for a month, okay? Because that's a little bit more tangible. We can't sort of say, I want to hit a high C and I'm going to hit it by April 1st, and if I don't, I failed my goal. Okay, that's not how the voice works. All right, you don't want to set expectations like that. So daily we're working to balance and to grow, let that blossom over time. But a song, you could say, I'm gonna work this month on Sante Fe. I think that was Ryan asking about Sante Fe. I'm gonna try to work that song toward mastery in a month's time. If it's not outside your comfort zone too far, you should be able to achieve new heights in terms of your repertoire and style in the course of a month. That's a nice question. And now, from Tari, how do you exercise the larynx? It can change. I was taught to ignore it. If I'm singing well, it does what it wants. I don't know about that. I come bearing larynxes. I love them. I would not ignore your larynx. I know people have been taught this, but please work with me here. You gotta focus on your larynx. It's just such a game changer, okay? Nobody says to a guitarist, look, I want you to be a master of the guitar. And I want you to play really, really well. But here's the rules. You never get to look at the guitar. I will never show you the guitar. I will blindfold you when you are playing the guitar, and you have to figure out the guitar without ever seeing it or thinking about it. What kind of guitar lesson is that? This is the instrument. This is the source of the sound. And not just the source of the sound, but also a big source of the resonance. If you don't focus on your larynx, you will be exceedingly limited, particularly as it comes to style. Okay. If I drop all the way down, that's very low, you get one sound. If I raise all the way up, I get another sound. What about this? I got all of the different colors just from the attention to the larynx. Okay. If I sing a high note in this sort of fashion, that's one sound. That's another sound. The primary difference is my larynx position. One was an operatic, and the other was a sort of rock shout, okay? You can't get the distinction in sound and in style without the laryngeal adjustment, okay? So for style reasons, you absolutely must learn about your larynx. You absolutely must make manipulations to it. But I'd also say, Terry, for technical reasons, if this is what's happening to me, I need to know that. I need to know. Don't move it. Or think down to go up. If my larynx is the problem, it's raising as I go higher, how am I going to solve that problem if I'm not thinking about it? I need to think, larynx, you're going to drop down as the pitches ascend. So for both style and for technique, laryngeal thought should definitely be in the equation. It's makes all the difference in the world. Okay, now we're running short on time. We have just a few minutes left. So let's see here. Yeah, let's go to Blue Moon here. This is a very interesting question. Is it true, Blue Moon asks, that drastic weight loss affects the voice negatively? So many singers talk about it in the classical world, at least. Not necessarily, okay? You may experience some sort of voice change in the loss of weight, but it actually might be a positive vocal change, okay? Getting your body in good physical health and good cardiovascular health is a very positive thing. You might actually find that your range expands, that there's less heaviness and weight in the sound. I think that many singers have experienced that the voice is not as big when they are not as big, okay? And I think that should make some obvious sense to you, right? But the question is, do we need the voice to be big? And that's something we've talked about here today. Do we need the voice to be big? Well, that depends. In the contemporary setting, no, we don't. Why would we? We need the voice to be solid. We need the voice to be strong. We need the voice to be awesome, but we don't need the voice to be big, right? That's not a goal. The microphone's right here. We're in the recording studio. It's this big, right? This little thing right here or this little thing right there goes all the way to the back of the 20,000 seat house. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be awesome. So weight loss, I would say, generally speaking, would be a good thing if you're not healthy and then you get your body into great shape. I think that's going to benefit the voice. It might make it a little smaller, but I would say that the benefits outweigh the costs, okay? All right, I think we can maybe do one more. And we're using this hour really well. Yeah? Okay, let's see. Oh, Jacob, I'll answer this one in conclusion. Jacob says that he's heard that when vibrato happens, you are singing right. And for him, it always seems like a stylistic choice. Jacob, preach, preach. Vibrato needs to be a stylistic choice. It's an old myth, and not a good one, that vibrato is natural, that it just happens on its own when the voice is free enough or good enough or well-developed enough, and then vibrato happens. And if you have a bad voice, you don't have vibrato. If you have a good voice, your vibrato just starts to happen. No. Again, stylistic. Otherwise, I already did this, but otherwise I couldn't do this. I couldn't do it. I'm choosing that. I'm choosing to add it or take it away anytime I want, okay? So we do need to think of it as a stylistic gesture, not as a technical achievement, okay? So now, I think we need to wrap up for today. But I just want to say, I bow to you good people. You're so awesome. I love your questions and your enthusiasm. Thank you for being members here. I think this is so fruitful for us to have these discussions, and I really appreciate it. Please remember to watch Brendan as well. Brendan Hodek, he does our voice breakdown show. And I'm telling you, he's a vocal genius. If you haven't seen his series, he does all the character impressions and tells you how to break down voices. He also knows the singing voice, by the way. He's a voice teacher, and he's also a speech language pathologist. He knows vocal injuries. So you get a lot of fruit talking with Brendan. Every month, you get to chat with me, you get to chat with Brendan. I think that your vocal education will expand a lot if we just keep having these chats. You and Brendan, you and me, really enjoying this very much. So, about you all, again, thank you for this great live chat, and we'll see you sometime in April.